The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. The FNM wants a police probe on U.S. claims. Pintard asking the Commissioner of Police to look into government contracts with Top Notch. And the opposition asking, did Gardner donate to the PLP campaign? As more uproars in the House over the issue. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Friday, June 12th, 2026. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Also this morning in Morning Blend Business, our Safe and Sound series, we are talking about security. What does it mean? Getting in depth with it with our friends from Preventative Measures this morning. That's all ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, opposition leader Michael Pintard has asked Commissioner of Police Shanton Knowles to launch an investigation into allegations made in a U.S. criminal complaint that a Bahamian politician is involved in drug trafficking. Pintard, along with members of the opposition, including St. Anne's MP Adrian White, Killarney MP Michaela Barnett Ellis, and East Grand Bahama MP Kwesi Thompson, delivered a letter for Knowles and a copy of the criminal complaint to a senior officer at the police headquarters yesterday. He's asking the commissioner to initiate a full investigation into any individual identified or reasonably identifiable as Politician 1 and to determine if any elected official has engaged in or facilitated narcotics trafficking. As has been widely reported, the complaint, which was unsealed last month, alleges that a Bahamian politician met with a drug dealer and a confidential source for U.S. law enforcement and Parliament in 2024. They were allegedly discussing a possible drug deal. In a sworn affidavit, a special agent with the DEA, Michael Coleman, claimed that Jonathan Eric Gardner, a Bahamian man who was one of 11 passengers on a plane that crashed in waters off Florida on Election Day on May 12th, was allegedly moving tons of cocaine through the Bahamas with the protection of Bahamian government officials and high-ranking politicians. In particular, the complaint referred to a specific politician whose name was redacted and who has been labeled Politician 1. Pintard is asking the commissioner to investigate all government contracts, concessions, and financial dealings with top-notch builders, a construction company. Meanwhile, Long Island MP Dr. LP to disclose whether Jonathan Eric Gardner donated funds to any of the party's campaigns. Rollins cited controversy surrounding Gardner, who was previously convicted of drug offenses in the U.S., and the millions of dollars in contracts awarded to a construction company, Top Notch Builders, linked to Gardner by multiple PLP administrations. Rollins noted that in 2017, the Christie administration signed a contract with Top Notch Builders for an 8 Mile Rock administrative complex on the eve of the 2017 election. No member of the PLP rose in Parliament to respond to Rollins' questions. Rollins noted broader concerns and the need for transparency legislation. Well, the disagreements continued in the House over whether the claims in a criminal complaint filed in the U.S. should be discussed in Parliament. Fox Hill MP Fred Mitchell, who is also chairman of the PLP, has vehemently expressed his view that the matter does not belong in Parliament, claiming it is prejudicial and labeling the criminal complaint as an untested document, which is, quote, floating around from a foreign source. Long Island MP Rollins yesterday accused Mitchell of disrespecting the importance of the Bahamas' relationship with the U.S. The complaint has been a source of significant uproar in Parliament this week during the budget debate. Minister of Tourism Glenn Santa Martin advising Bahamians to stay tuned for announcements regarding the downtown revitalization project amid long-standing calls from business owners and residents for the area's improvement. Anna Martin, who obtained the tourism portfolio following the Davis administration's win at the polls on May 12th, said that talks of downtown development have been swirling for quite some time now. She said work under her leadership will begin very soon to transform the area, but she did not reveal when a clear plan would be unveiled. And Housing and Land Reform Minister Keith Bell says the government plans to build over 900 homes throughout the country. The government announced that it plans to expand housing developments in Providence, Abaco, Eleuthera, Grand Bahama, Exuma, and San Salvador. The expansion will consist of single homes and subdivisions across the country. Overseas, U.S. President Donald Trump saying that he has called off new military strikes on Iran, claiming a breakthrough in negotiations to end the war, just hours after the American leader threatened to escalate the conflict by seizing control of Iran's oil industry. Trump has said multiple times in recent weeks that the warring parties have been on the cusp of a deal without anything coming to fruition. A spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry said in a live phone call on state television that mediators were active and nothing had been finalized to end the conflict that began February 28th when the U.S. and Israel jointly attacked Iran. Trump opened an Oval Office event Thursday saying, quote, "We just made a great settlement on the war with Iran." He offered scant details, though, other than to say he expects an agreement to extend a fragile ceasefire that started in April to be finalized over the next few days. Ukrainian drone strikes on refineries, depots, and pipelines. Tanker trucks attacked and left ablaze along the land corridor from Russia to Crimea, and motorists waiting in long lines at gas stations. In a new blow to the Kremlin's narrative that Moscow is winning the 4-year-old war in Ukraine, Kyiv's forces have targeted supplies in Crimea, triggering the worst fuel crisis on the Black Sea Peninsula since it was illegally annexed by Russia in 2014. The persistent attacks reflect the growing intensity and efficiency of Ukraine's drone strikes and have caught Russia off guard and struggling for a response. As the country marks the Russia Day national holiday Friday, signaling the start of summer vacations, the gas shortages are threatening to cause further disruptions to the tourism-dependent region with its beaches and resorts. In a rare public statement, has recognized the scope of the problem and promised to address the issue quickly. Ukraine's successes have highlighted its ability to impact painful damage on Russia and change the course of the conflict, while Moscow's advances recently have ground to a near halt. The U.S. government Thursday announcing sanctions against Cuba's state-owned oil and gas company in a move some experts say will only deepen the island's crises and hit vulnerable Cubans the hardest. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio asserted that key assets of the company were unlawfully expropriated from American owners years ago. He's also accusing Cuba's government of weaponizing energy. He noted that Cuban officials resell countless barrels of scarce energy on the secondary market, hoarding energy supplies for its military, intelligence, and repressive forces, and rationing energy as a tool of social media. He didn't provide details, though. Cuba's foreign minister pushed back against Rubio's comments on X, formerly Twitter, saying, quote, "The U.S. Secretary of State, driven by ambitions of conquest, presidential aspirations, and the vindictive sentiments of the elitist clique that propelled his political career, is now further tightening the economic and energy blockade against Cuba. To justify this, he doesn't resort to excuses prepared by his State Department, but rather to vulgar lies, the most aggressive, ignorant, and rabid rhetoric among Cuba's enemies." And thousands of Puerto Ricans struggling with water shortages so severe that the governor of the U.S. territory has activated the National Guard, and emergency responders are fielding calls every day. Officials have not publicly pinpointed the cause, with shortages largely affecting some areas in the island's most populated cities, including the capital, San Juan. The island's utilities company extracts water from rivers, reservoirs, and underground aquifers that have in the past provided sufficient supply for the island's 3.2 million people. Residents are being forced to buy potable water, spend money at laundromats, and haul heavy buckets up several flights of stairs to wash dishes, flush toilets, or take showers. Some customers in San Juan began reporting intermittent service more than a year ago, with the governor acknowledging the infrastructure has lacked investment and maintenance for decades.
This is Sports Update.
In sports, for the first time ever, the Bahamas represented by 4 athletes in the women's 400 meters at the NCAA Division I Outdoor Track and Field Championships. University of Tennessee Volunteer senior Giovanni Valcourt, University of Florida Gators junior Quincy Penn, Texas A&M University Aggies senior LaCarthia Cooper, and Texas Tech University Red Raiders senior Colinique Farrington, all in action in the semifinals of that event Thursday, all 4 turning in respectable showings. At the end of the day, Valcourt would be the only one moving on to the final, finishing second in her heat, qualifying 6th overall in 50.75 seconds. She'll run in the final on Saturday. The 2026 NCAA Championships going on now at Hayward Field at the University of Oregon's campus in Eugene, Oregon. And sports in the Bahamas promising to get a boost across numerous disciplines following Youth and Sports Minister Mario Boleg's contribution during the budget debate in the House. The minister touching on various initiatives, including allocations for the national sport of sailing, sports tourism, sporting facilities in the Family Islands, and the National Sports Authority and the National Sports Endowment, plus subventions for athletes. The ministry now has sports tourism with a national brand of Sports in Paradise under its portfolio, and there's been an allocation of $5,583,870 to promote the country's sports brand. More on that in today's Guardian Sports section. And the Carolina Hurricanes, just one win away from the Stanley Cup Championships, beating the Vegas Golden Knights last night 4-2 in hockey. Again, one win away from it all. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Got your first look at weather brought to you by Star Generals. We've got a weak high-pressure system that's going to continue to serve as the dominant weather feature across the country today, allowing gentle winds, very, very warm temperatures, and relatively stable conditions outside of a few possible showers through tonight. We've got a slight risk of rip currents along Atlantic exposed beaches. And as a result of the approaching new moon cycle, coastal residents are advised that there is a marginal risk of coastal flooding during evening high tides through to next week, Thursday. For today, your forecast, most areas looking at partly sunny to sunny conditions today, turning mostly fair tonight. About a 10 to 30% chance of showers for most areas, 20 to 30% chance in the afternoon hours across Grand Bahama and Abaco. Winds for the extreme northern islands, east-northeast to east-southeast at 10 knots or less, falling light and variable at times, veering east to southeast at 10 knots or less tonight. The rest of the country looking at east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots. Higher gusts possible in the southeast Bahamas. Temperatures today, look for highs around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will make you feel like it's as hot as 102 Fahrenheit, 39 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 78, 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up in just a bit. This weather check brought to you by Star General, insurance made simple.
It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way.
You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Looking to elevate your gadget game or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of custom computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality. Convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Your next win is waiting right now at islandluck.com. The quicker you sign up, the quicker you can play, the quicker you can score, and the quicker you can win big. From casino games to sportsbook action and lottery excitement, it's all just a few clicks away. Sign up today at islandluck.com and get in the game instantly. Island Luck. Join the winner's circle now. Must be 18 and over. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Put more money back in your pocket with the Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan. Why pay more when you can pay less? Reduce your monthly debt payments down to one low, easy payment. Apply for a Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you. Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the Know-How team at 396-1101.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Float Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796 standard. Text rates apply. And now at 7:25. I'm Dwight Strachan with you on this Friday morning. And quite a bit to talk about this morning, including in Morning Blend Business, our Safe and Sound series, our monthly series. Today we're looking at security in general. Whose role is what and who should... Certain things, we're going to get into it with Kamal Nuri from Preventative Measures today. That's all ahead. But as we said, a lot to talk about right now in the news. And it's early, but it's proving to be already proving to be a challenging morning for some of our utilities, and you're going to want to pay attention to this. So, due to some emergency road works at Saunders Beach near the Shell service station, there's a road closure, and there've been traffic diversions. So, for now, eastbound traffic. There are alternative routes. They're going to be onto New Providence Highway to the Six-Second Roundabout and onto Farrington Road or University Drive. And if you're heading westbound, you're asked to consider Nassau Street or Marcus Bethel Highway. So this is as a result of, as we said, emergency works there from water and sewage. So this is on West Bay Street, and... motorists are being encouraged to follow the posted signs. Workers working to fix that problem there. So this is a statement for water and sewage. Please be advised that repair works on West Bay Street near Saunders Beach are still ongoing due to an unforeseen delay. Water supply is now expected to be restored by 9 a.m. The affected areas, the Grove West, Highland Park, Seaview Drive, and Vista Marina. Motorists are also advised to exercise caution when traveling in the area. So again, the road is closed, West Bay Street there, and people are being turned around. So keep that in mind. Listen to us. Spread the word to people. You know, that area gets very busy soon, and there are going to be a lot of people who are going to have to make major adjustments this morning. We'll keep you posted on what's going on there, but water and sewage working to fix that problem and restore water by 9 o'clock. And it has resulted in traffic diversions. So we'll tell you more in the traffic update as well. So that's happening. And then I knew it. I mean, usually it takes a couple of days. But if you were listening to the show yesterday, I applauded BPL. I said how it's been a great year for some of us in Eastern New Providence, right? We've got, I think I can count maybe 1, 2 brief outages. And I knocked on wood, and I crossed my fingers, and I said a little prayer. I said, well, hopefully they'll keep it up. But alas, no. The power went off, folks, as soon as I said it. And, it just came on about 5 o'clock this morning. It was off maybe a little over an hour. And other people tell me that theirs went off and was on and off quite frequently over the night. So it was a challenging night for a lot of people. BPL on their WhatsApp channel issued a couple of statements around a little after 4 o'clock, confirming that they were dealing with some issues. Saying that technicians at the Clifton Pier Power Station experienced power generation issues related to an electrical malfunction, which tripped a number of power generation units offline. And that areas in experiencing the outages, Winton and pockets of communities in eastern New Providence, Soldier Road and surrounding areas, Blue Hill Road, Bonita Bay, Gladstone North and South. It's a very wide area. I mean, okay. Rocky Pine and surrounding areas. And they said the teams were working to restore. And, within an hour or so, they got everybody, I believe, back online. So a challenging morning for a lot of people. let's hope that's the end of it for today, at least. Yeah. All right. So the big story, the budget debate. Not much about the budget. You're hearing a lot more about the U.S. claims and the opposition wanting answers and wanting action from the government. The big F&M wants police probe on U.S. claims. Pintard asking the Commissioner of Police to look into government contracts with Top Notch. Our Travis Cartwright Carroll writing about it today. Opposition leader Michael Pintard has asked Commissioner of Police Shanton Knowles to launch an investigation into allegations made in a U.S. criminal complaint that a Bahamian politician is involved in drug trafficking. So I'm going to pause right here, because if you were listening to the show yesterday, we brought this up. We said when this was first announced, the government issued a statement saying that they're going to do their own investigations. Well, we've heard nothing about it. One of their supporters, who seems to have the inside track on everything going on, called, and we asked him the question. He said the police are investigating. So is this an unnecessary act? Or can the commissioner just say, I'm already investigating? But anyway, we found it hard to believe that anything had happened since the statement was put out, because we've heard not a thing, not one thing. And instead heard people refer to the matter as frivolous gossip. So is anyone looking into it now? Well, the opposition again, hoping that the commissioner can do something. Pintard, along with members of the opposition, including St. Anne's MP Adrian White, Killarney MP Michaela Barnett Ellis, and East Grand Bahama MP Kwesi Thompson, delivered a letter for Knowles and a copy of the criminal complaint to a senior officer at police headquarters yesterday, sometime around 7:30 p.m. Will she get that letter? Pintard wrote in the letter to Knowles, quote, I write in my capacity as leader of the opposition to formally request an urgent and comprehensive investigation into serious allegations contained in a sworn complaint filed in the United States District for the Southern District of New York. Pintard asking the commissioner to initiate a full investigation into any individual identified or reasonably identifiable as Politician 1 and determine if any elected official has, quote, engaged in or facilitated narcotics trafficking. As has been widely reported, the complaint, which was unsealed last month, alleges that a Bahamian politician met with a drug dealer and a confidential source for U.S. law enforcement in Parliament in 2024 to discuss a possible drug deal. In a sworn affidavit, Michael Coleman, a special agent with the DEA, claimed that Jonathan Eric Gardner, a Bahamian man who was one of the 11 passengers on that plane that crashed in waters off Florida on Election Day, May 12, 2026, was allegedly moving tons of cocaine through the Bahamas with the protection of Bahamian government officials and high-ranking politicians. In particular, the complaint referred to a specific politician whose name was redacted and who was labeled Politician 1. Pintard has asked the commissioner to investigate all government contracts, concessions, and financial dealings with top-notch builders. Pintard said, quote, we note that information in the public domain indicates that Top Notch was the contractor responsible for the construction of the Obadiah Wilshcombe Complex in Grand Bahama and the Renaissance at Carmichael Housing Development in New Providence. Given the seriousness of the allegations and their potential implications for national security, international reputation, and public confidence in governance, it is essential that this matter be addressed with urgency, independence, and full transparency. The public must be assured that no individual, regardless of position, is above the law, and that all allegations of criminal conduct touching public office are investigated thoroughly and impartially. Gardner previously served as president of Top Notch Builders, which signed a contract with the Christie administration in 2017 for the construction of the 8 Mile Rock Administrative Complex on Grand Bahama. The Tribune reported that complete construction, which is majority owned by Top Notch, was awarded government contracts to build homes in the government's new subdivision on Carmichael Road under the Davis administration. All right. So all week long in the House have been disputes, disagreements during the budget debate about this matter, and Pintard's trying to table the complaint in the House, and there's been a lot of opposition. pardon the pun, to that from the government side. Continued yesterday over whether the claims in a criminal complaint filed in the U.S. should be discussed in Parliament. Fox Hill MP Fred Mitchell, who is chairman of the PLP, has vehemently expressed his view that the matter does not belong in Parliament, claiming it is prejudicial and labeling the criminal complaint as a, quote, untested document which is floating around. Well, Long Island MP Andre Rollins yesterday accused Mitchell of disrespecting the importance of the Bahamas' relationship with the government and as a partner. There's a lot on what Rollins had to say yesterday, a lot to talk about there. Let's get to this report from our Vonique Toot.
Nearly a month after Bahamian Jonathan Eric Gardner survived an Election Day plane crash and was subsequently taken into U.S. custody on drug charges, Long Island MP Dr. Andre Rollins says Bahamians deserve to know whether Gardner has ever given money to the Progressive Liberal Party for past election campaigns and how Top Notch Builders secured the contract for a major complex in 8 Mile Rock, Grand Bahama.
Who in the government knew what and when did they know it? Was the project open to a competitive bidding process? And if not, why not? Which minister of government was responsible for signing off on the terms of the agreement? Madam Speaker, freedom of information is very useful in promoting budgetary transparency and accountability by helping to identify a paper trail, and in doing so, we are able to follow the money. The Bahamian people want to know and deserve to know whether Jonathan Eric Gardner made campaign contributions to finance any of the past PLP election campaigns dating back to at least 2017.
According to documents from the Registrar General's office, Gardner was the president and director of Top Notch Builders in 2016 and 2017. The Christie administration signed a contract with Top Notch for the 8 Mile Rock Administrative Complex on the eve of the 2017 general election. Rollins questioned how this was possible when Gardner had served time in the United States following his conviction for drug trafficking and money laundering offenses, then deported to the Bahamas in 2014 following his release.
It is absolutely unthinkable, unbelievable that any government would not have done its due diligence on the principles or principle of top-notch builders. And with a principal who has been already convicted of narcotics trafficking by the United States of America.
The F&M MP said officials must jealously guard the country's reputation.
But we do not protect our reputation when we try to suppress debate in the House of Assembly. If we are serious about cleaning up our country, then we have to be transparent in dealing with what are clearly weaknesses in our country. And the lack of a Freedom of Information Act, and quite frankly, some of you even on my side may not like to hear this, the lack of campaign finance reform, or not even reform because we don't have it, the lack of campaign finance legislation is a major weekness in our country.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Vonique Toot.
Okay, let's get your reaction to all of this so far. What the opposition did, delivering that letter to the commissioner, the calls for more information about Top Notch and Gardner, and the ongoing uproar about this complaint and whether it should be officially tabled into Parliament in the Bahamas. Let's get your views on all of this. What do you say about it? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's talk about it again. The government issued that statement weeks ago saying that they were concerned about it and they would launch an investigation on it. We've not heard anything since then. who is investigating this? Investigating it. And is it redundant for the opposition leader to ask the commissioner to do it? Is that already happening? Should it be up to the police to investigate this? What say you? Let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Since I've been listening to all of these occurrences, one of the things that struck me is, and I think nobody's even talked about it, the Bahamas government has a bilateral agreement with the United States for certain criminal matters, including specifically drug trafficking. The fact that this arrest and this controversy seems to have caught the government flat-foot is an indictment on that arrangement, because it means that the United States government, the Southern District, does not trust the Bahamas government to share that information with them and to request their assistance in serving indictments, or to indicate that somebody has been indicted in the U.S. and they're going to request an extradition of a particular person who's alleged to have been involved. I find it very interesting. Now, I know that when requests for assistance come from the U.S. government to the Bahamas government, that is normally confidential. So you never hear the government talk about it because it's confidential. That's the nature of the agreement. But the fact that all of this seems to have caught everybody by surprise is very, very, very interesting to me. With respect to what Dr. Andre Rollins said, I completely agree with him. But like I said previously when I called you, you're dealing with a political organization who happens to be the government of the Bahamas, who always believe it's party above country. And I don't care what anybody says, their actions tell me that constantly. How do you sit in the people's house and say that something as serious as this is first the public statement and nothing burger, then all of a sudden it's untested. And this is the untested from a country with whom you have a bilateral arrangement. It makes no sense. Mm-hmm. And we are in a sad, sad, sad place.
Yeah, very interesting comments. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate your call. Well, catching people flat-footed. Well, I mean, they might. That's what they're. I'm saying sometimes it's a performance. I don't know if that's the case here, but this is what we like to do. We've had many incidents that show that people will act like, let's pretend it didn't happen, and it'll go away. And if it does come back around, we'll act surprised. But sure, it's possible. It's possible. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Dwight. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning.
Yes, Dwight. Doctor. First of all, the lady who just called, man, she was playing spot on, right? I appreciate listening to her. And I also agreed with the fact, the points that Dr. Rollins was making. Dwight, we were advocating for those points for 14 years, eh?
Absolutely.
And we ain't reached nowhere yet, But I really would like to understand why the government continue to throw America, the great America, as being a country would just be, creating frivolous matters against small nations like the Bahamas, right? And I mean, like the lady that said, we have all type of agreements with America, and for us to be in this type of position at this point, is something is fishy with that, man. It really not apparent that our leaders are trustworthy, and that's why, because if the America could see that the Bahamian people don't trust their leaders, I mean, these people, their job is to be vigilant in whatever it is they're doing. But it appears that we right here, just in the Bahamas, because of our protecting our parties, and both of the FNM and the PLP, I believe, are responsible for this. But they believe in protecting the party more than the country. But this progressive liberal party today is blatant, so obvious. And I don't know if those fellas them possibly need to just, those senior guys, right? They have to be the one responsible for just denial. Well, when Fred Mitchell got up and speak about what hate freedom of information, right? That was the deal closed. I mean, still for me, because when did we see that the PLP ever was interested in transparency? And it's a scary.
Whenever they're in opposition.
Pardon?
Whenever they are in opposition, they are very interested.
Right. You are correct again.
Very, very
Whenever
interested.
they are in opposition, it's the only time. Matter of fact, when everybody is in
Yes,
opposition.
every party. Both of them, all of them, every
yes,
single
sir.
one. That's when they love it. Mm-hmm.
Once they're in opposition, they can see. They have an eagle eye.
Yes.
And then when they
It's their
become
favorite word. Transparency is their favorite word when they're in opposition.
favorite word. And then when they become when they get elected, they become like a owl, only could see when it's dark. But Dwight, I want to leave you with this last point, right? We are progressing regressively in the Bahamas.
I heard you say that one yesterday on another show. I like it. I don't like that that's what's happening.
No, I don't like what is happening.
But I like the saying.
That's what I see happening, by the way. But I don't like it either.
Yeah.
I'm a
Very
wonderful
scary.
neighbor, brother.
We got to reverse it. We have to find a way. We don't need to wait for them to change our course. But thank you for that. Appreciate it. Let's take another call. I've got a lot of your text messages coming in. Caller, good morning. You're live on the air on this Friday morning. Good morning.
Dwight, good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning.
I do agree with Andre Rollins that the matter of this gentleman in question and his relationship with the government of the Bahamas in the past, having been the recipient of government contracts on various levels, begs a very, very serious question as to how and whether or not the government of the Bahamas, under those circumstances, were in breach of the very laws of this country that prevents governments from doing business with people of such character. It also raises another serious question that I want to ask the Prime Minister this morning. As a former person in law enforcement who worked in the drug interdiction and drug trafficking interdiction business, I want to know, how is it that the individual in question was previously convicted, returned to the Bahamas, was able to engage in very visible ways in business with the government of the Bahamas, and then a second time be interdicted by the United States government. And it seems, as far as I understand, Mr. Prime Minister, at no time was the government of the Bahamas, from a law enforcement perspective, taken any serious steps to act similarly to the United States with respect to this person. The relationships are very different, very opposite. One is seeking to prosecute the individual, and the other one is seeking to become a partner in business and public development with this person. That begs a very serious question as to what kind of government we have. And that's the question I want to ask the Prime Minister this morning. How is it that the United States government wants to prosecute him and in the past has convicted him? And our government has entered into business with him. So that's the question I want to ask the Prime Minister this morning.
Okay, interesting. I mean, that's just the way of the world, right? I mean, look at the U.S. Depending on which administration is in, you could be charged and prosecuted, and maybe even threatened with jail time, and then another one comes in and gives you a pardon and gives you awards and all kinds of things. It happens, but you just have to recognize the nature of the people you're dealing with. And if they've shown you patterns before, you keep putting people in positions of authority. You are the problem. But I don't know if that's what's happening here. I'm just saying, right? So the apologist sending tech Puff Daddy was indicted by the Southern District of New York for human sex trafficking. The outcome, not guilty. Thank you for that factoid. I mean, what are we to do with this? What is your point? Where is he right now, though? What's your point? Okay, thank you. Anyway, we'll get to the other calls in just a bit. So the headline in the other paper today, this is pretty interesting. Wait and see, says Walker. That's Ambassador Walker. The U.S. ambassador responding to the frivolous and malicious gossip claims by the House Speaker. Whoa. The U.S. ambassador to the Bahamas, Herschel Walker, responded yesterday to House Speaker Patricia DeVoe's dismissal of explosive allegations in the U.S. criminal complaint against Bahamian Eric Gardner as frivolous and malicious gossip, saying, quote, wait and see. Asked about DeVoe's comments during a press conference in Grand Bahama, Walker stressed that the matter remains under investigation, saying, quote, it's funny because people say things like that, but it's an open investigation. And I think people know when it is an open investigation, you just wait and see what's going to happen. You really don't want to say anything about it because you don't want to hurt either side. Earlier this week, opposition leader Michael Pintart was blocked by DeVoe from tabling documents in the House Assembly relating to the U.S. criminal complaint filed against Gardner. DeVoe described the allegations as frivolous and malicious gossip and ruled that the matter should not be tabled in Parliament. When asked about the Speaker's comments, Walker said he does not comment on open investigations, saying, quote, that's why I don't really comment on things like this, because being an open investigation, who knows? And we don't want to just put things out there that is just not true. Okay. It's probably the best way to handle questions like that. Wait and see, though. Wait and see. Let's hear from you, caller. Good morning. What say you? Good morning. Are you there? Hi, you're live. We can hear you. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Good morning, pleasant day. I just want to say that you actually, while I was waiting to contribute, you actually did made the point that some places have preferential treatment with drugs, even with the United States, because the United States government of America pardoned somebody who was his favor, right-wing government, and that he was supporting to win an election recently. Person was actually lost the case in the States and had to pay a lot of money and the rest of it, and yet President Trump gave the person a green bill of health.
And he's not the first one to do it. It happens all the time. Many presidents have done that.
Right. So I guess it, with our with our sovereignty, we as a government also choose what we want to do. But I don't want to put it on just the PLP, because I've heard persons who serve in the FNM were saying that the gentleman was never a convict. So I don't know if that is to say it's a friend, family, or lover, or some sort of protection, or a club situation. You have the money, you're Elon Musk, so we would want to keep you, we want to benefit from you if it's our term. So even though there's a lot of noise around, I wouldn't jump on that. I would stick to some other things. I wanted to call in yesterday about the education situation, you mentioned the reading. And I'm very proud of that individual, one of your favorite callers, who is working well with his daughter in reading. And that's the focus that we need to go, and hopefully in times in the future, we will get all the good things that we need in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. But you have to want it. You have to want it, and you have to work at it, right? You just can't keep saying it and expect it to magically appear. And I think too many of us...
I also, in commending him, I also say that even as a teacher, both parents being teachers, I had a fear of my grade 2, whether she would be a good reader. But I salute other teachers who work with her.
Yeah.
And when she excelled, I was even shocked myself. But myself loving maths, I am doing something different with my grandson. I'm introducing him not just to maths, but also to reading.
And
because reading is very much essential.
Did you speak to the teachers? Did you express that to the teachers about her reading?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, we got to be real. I got a U in English,
Oh, boy.
when I did GCO level.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but we are not all perfect. Some people give the impression that we always attain at the right time, but no. I live abroad, and my mother was living in another country, and she used to send me math problems, mail letters and so on, So you have to also invest in your children.
Absolutely.
And when you invest in the older ones, the younger one that follow, they also is a culture. Yeah. If you look at primary school student of the year, there are several families who have 1, 2, 3 persons who are part of the recommended as student of the year for their respective schools.
Yeah, definitely. And the parents play an active role in their children's education.
And the goal for the summer is not just relax and play. The goal for the summer is productivity.
Yeah.
Especially if you're moving from grade 2 to grade 3.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate the call. Appreciate the
You're
call
welcome.
this morning. All right. Some interesting text messages here. Wow. All right. This texter says, has Gardner committed any crimes in the Bahamas? Is Gardner not a Bahamian? Americans come to the Bahamas and commit crimes, then go home and live as a free citizen. What's happening? What's going on? What are you doing? What are you doing? Americans have killed police in the White House and got pardoned by the president and given high-profile jobs in government in the United States. So they have no moral compass to point fingers. Oh, wow. You actually felt this is a bot? Did you actually a human type this? Oh, man. So we should just let everybody out of the prison then, because who are you to say that I'm guilty of a crime when that's your thinking about stuff. My Lord. And then they brought up another person whose partner was caught red-handed with drugs, and they still ran that person as a candidate, but they act like it never happened. Well, a lot of people complained about that too. What your points are very bizarre. Very bizarre. Ah, man. This texter says here, okay, that's about BPL. We'll get back to that in a bit. This person says here, believe that the Commissioner of Police is a political appointee. I believe it should have gone to the king. To the king? What? King, who king? King Charles? That's what you... Oh, boy. We're in trouble. The king. Who is investigating? Probably the same people who are investigating the police-involved shooting that you often talk about, of course. And all the other police officers who were allegedly involved in other drug smuggling and trafficking operations. It's the same people. Political appointees and police officers. Yeah. So, if the politician's name was redacted, how do we expect the Prime Minister to know who the politician is? It could be a PLP, it could be an F&M. I see why it was not tabled in the House. What do we expect the PM to know or to do? Gardner need not fret. Once somebody writes a letter of good standing to the U.S. Justice Department, he'll simply get a fine and be shipped home. Wow. The U.S. ambassador and the speaker are saying the same thing. Wait until you have the facts before the investigation is going on, and then see if there is evidence, and then the hammer will fall. But if you all want the Prime Minister to speak before the investigation is concluded. Okay. All right. We just wanted to hear whether they are indeed doing an investigation. That would be good. But we're not getting anything. We got to go to the news. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app. Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Able, Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow, Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. And now at 8:21, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Hope Walk 2026. Join the Jenny Dean Caring and Sharing Cancer Support Group for Hope Walk 2026 tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. at Goodman's Bay Park. Walk in honor of a survivor, in memory of a loved one, or simply to support those facing cancer today. Register now at gdcancersupportgroup.com. gdcancersupportgroup.com for Hope Walk 2026 tomorrow morning at Goodman's Bay Park. All right, so right now, weather-wise, we've got a weak high-pressure system that continues to serve as the dominant weather feature across the country, and that's going to allow gentle winds, very warm temperatures, and relatively stable conditions outside of a few showers through tonight. Over the next few days, conditions are expected to remain generally stable as high pressure continues to dominate, but by Saturday afternoon, a tropical wave moving westward across the Caribbean Sea will introduce locally brisk winds while gradually increasing cloud cover and the likelihood of showers and thunderstorms for the southern Bahamas. As the wave progresses westward, lingering moisture will gradually spread northward, bringing an increased chance of showers to the northern islands early next week. And this moisture is expected to pool ahead of a frontal boundary forecast to approach northern Florida by late next week. And that's going to help to maintain humid and unsettled weather across the region next week. So keep that in mind. You might have a good weekend, but changes are coming. For today, we have to deal with the heat and UV indices. The UV indices expected to be in the very high range. Heat indices in the low triple digits again today. And there's a slight risk of rip currents along Atlantic exposed beaches. And as a result of the approaching new moon cycle, coastal residents are advised that there is a marginal risk for coastal flooding during evening high tides from this weekend through to next week, Thursday. So that's going on. Your forecast for today, partly to mostly sunny, turning mostly fair tonight. Only about a 10 to 30% chance of showers. Temperatures around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius for highs. But the heat index will make you feel like it's 102 Fahrenheit, 39 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 78, 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. In your extended outlook, for Saturday tomorrow, most areas looking at partly sunny to sunny conditions, turning mostly fair at night. Southeast Bahamas, partly sunny at first, but becoming a mix of sun and clouds by the afternoon, with cloudy conditions by nightfall. Slightly elevated chances for rain in the Southeast Bahamas. By Sunday, again, the northern half of the country looking at a mix of sun and clouds, but the Southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy to cloudy, with a 30 to 50% chance of showers for the Central and Southeast Islands as that wave moves through. And by Monday, we're looking at a mix of sun and clouds again for the northern half of the country, but partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy for the Central and Southeast Bahamas, with still elevated chances for rain for the Central and Southeast Bahamas. By Tuesday, the chances for rain increase for the northern and northwest Bahamas, and most of us looking at partly cloudy to cloudy conditions. In the tropics, we're watching an area near the Bay of Campeche, a broad area of low pressure forecast to form near the Yucatan Peninsula from a westward moving tropical wave. The system has only about a 10% chance. It's a low chance of tropical cyclone formation through the next 48 hours and through the next 7 days as the system moves inland over eastern Mexico by late Saturday or Sunday. Well, that is your Morning Blend Weather Check. Weather Check also brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Looking to paint? Your local Sherwin-Williams store has top quality paints, expert advice, and everyday discounts to help you save only at Sherwin-Williams. And we, at 8:25, have your traffic alert brought to you by NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers. We've been telling you about this, the traffic advisory on West Bay Street. And this is as a result of emergency waterworks going on West Bay Street. The Water and Sewage Department, Water and Sewage Corporation, working near Saunders Beach. Water supply expected to be restored by 9 a.m. And this is affecting residents in the Grove West, Highland Park, Seaview Drive, and Vista Marina. So as a result of this, there are diversions. West Bay Street closed near the roundabout by Shell, the Shell service station there. If you're heading eastbound, you're being diverted at the Saunders Beach roundabout onto the six-legged roundabout. That's the Providence Highway, and you're suggested you head onto Farrington Road to Nassau Street. If you're heading westbound, you're being turned around onto Nassau Street, and you can continue to University Drive, and then to the six-legged roundabout and proceed onto West Bay Street from there. And already we are seeing the impact of that, those diversions, and so expect delays. The Providence Highway looking very, very busy right now. Heavy southbound traffic as people are being diverted all the way up to the six-legged roundabout, and some slow-moving traffic northbound as well, but mainly the southbound side, so that's mainly people heading eastbound on West Bay Street being diverted there and creating that bottleneck there. Northbound on the Providence Highway approaching the six-legged roundabout looking busy right now as well. And on the John F. Kennedy Drive side, heavy eastbound traffic towards that roundabout. So if you can, avoid the six-legged roundabout, but you won't have much of a choice if you were on West Bay Street. Elsewhere, we've got heavy traffic on Tonic Williams-Darling Highway westbound towards the roundabout with Milo Butler Highway. And west of that roundabout on Tonic Williams-Darling Highway, both directions seeing heavier traffic than normal at this hour. And then there's Independence Drive. Not looking so bad right now between the roundabouts. Slow-moving traffic there, manageable. But Blue Hill Road is busy as you approach the roundabout with Independence Drive. That's northbound. And a bit farther east, you've got Robinson Road, very heavy traffic westbound as you are heading west from Prince Charles into Robinson. You're going to see that. And both Marathon and Soldier north of that area, seeing some slow-moving northbound traffic right now. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert brought to you by NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers. Get a quote however it suits you. Stop by your nearest branch or get an instant motor quote online at nuainsurance.com. Quick questions or big decisions, they've got you covered.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Hope still lives in community. Join the Jenny Dean Caring and Sharing Cancer Support Group for the Hope Walk 2026 on Saturday, June 13th at 6 a.m. at Goodman's Bay. Walk alongside survivors, patients, caregivers, and families as we come together in support. Enjoy fellowship, vendors, activities, and our inspiring Hope concert immediately following the walk. Register at gdcancersupportgroup.com.
Don't shop at Sherwin-Williams then. Don't get the best service in the Bahamas then.
The love is really, really strong in Sherwin-Williams. We don't just sell paint. We service you with a smile, good hearts, mind, soul, and body. And we love our customers as much as we love ourselves.
Yes, real talk.
I'm not just saying this
Real talk.
to impress myself.
We love to go beyond with customer service. So they feel delighted to come in Sherwin-Williams because they know I can either see Dee Dee, or I can see Shelly, or one of our other wonderful staff members. We treat our customers with the respect of our boss because there are many paint companies they could choose to go to. No, baby. If they go to some other paint companies, so I gonna get this little thing at the end of the week.
We want to make sure you get that little ting, Shelley. Come visit Shelley and Dee Dee at Sherwin-Williams, Bahamas, and you'll surely find colour in every day.
To the world, he is your dad, but to you, he is the world. Shower your dad with love with a gift from Kelly's House and Home's Father's Day sale, Friday, June 9th through Saturday, June 17th. Save 20% off selected tool sets, luggage, and fishing, diving, and camping gear, except on net items. Shop at Kelly's House and Home on Saturday, June 8th, and if you are standing on the lucky spot, you could win a gift basket for Dad. Visit our Facebook page for more information. Shop Kelly's House and Home's Father's Day sale, June 9th through 17th. Happy Father's Day from Kelly's House and Home.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
You stepped inside with a vibe I ain't never seen. Yes, you did. Ooh, so girl, if you talk like you walk, come and talk to me. But look here, it would break my heart, break my heart, break my heart if I find out you can't move. You better show me now, show me now, show me now. Cause when I take it to the floor, ooh, you gotta get down. You know what to do. Hey, Mr. DJ, oh, play a song for this pretty little lady. Oh, cause if she dances good as she look right now, oh, I just might make her my baby. I just might make her my baby. Hey, I just might.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with you on this Friday morning. We are talking about what's in the news. Coming up in business, though, our monthly Safe and Sound series. We're going to be talking about all things security and who should be responsible for what. Is it law enforcement? Should it be security officers? And a whole lot more. Looking forward to that coming up in a bit. But we continue again with what's in the news. We've been talking about what's been happening in Parliament, in the House, the back and forth about the U.S. claims and whether this should be tabled officially in the House and Parliament, and the comments, interesting comments coming from both sides on this matter. Getting some interesting comments from you all, the text messages. Very interesting. A number of people texting in that Gardner's not been convicted of any crimes in the Bahamas and not seeing any issues with it, which is really very, 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 very strange. Very strange things to text. I'm just wondering, I mean, is it just because of drug stuff, or you feel this way about all crimes? If you didn't do anything in the Bahamas, but you have a conviction in the U.S., then that doesn't count. In the Bahamas, you are crime-free, innocent, and pure as the driven snow. Yeah. Speaking of drugs. What are you saying? So you have this policy with child molesters as well? If they never did anything in the Bahamas, or at least never were caught, but they have a conviction in the U.S., that's fine. When you're deported and you come back home, we should make you the Minister of Youth? Yeah? That's how we do things? Or is it just a special place in our hearts we hold for drug dealers and drug traffickers? You just don't know what the big deal is. It's not a problem. Make it make sense. And if we are official about it, just tell the world this is how we feel. Maybe we can stop wasting time with other countries. Because, I mean, it seems like this is where we are and have always been from when I was a child. People have been ripping alleged drug dealers and making them out to be the heroes of the community and talking about them as if they were celebrities. So is this who Bahamians are? It seems to be. Tell me I'm wrong. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free. 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. 422-4796. Caller, good morning. Are you a drug trafficker worshiper?
Yeah, but Nick, you remember Night Guard? You want me to call some other names?
Well, we love the criminal element. Well, it depends on the crime. Perhaps.
Absolutely. Just think about it, right? You can traffic. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of individuals in prison in the United States due to untested allegations of crimes that happen in the Bahamas. You know, somebody
frivolous gossip.
Huh?
Frivolous gossip.
Yeah, frivolous gossip. I mean, hopefully Trump, maybe they don't extend this down to the Caribbean because saying that Trump is doing things to untested things, you know. You can imagine, though, that tons of cocaine and drugs and other illicit activities happen into the Bahamas. We are known for being under the gun for money trafficking, laundering, all these other different things. And in our mind, they're just picking on us.
Yeah, they're just picking on us.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
See, this is why when you talk about governance in the Bahamas, you should open with Coolio's Gangsters Paradise. But right.
Oh, boy.
It is. Which way? You want to face reality?
It's time that we do it, right? We've got to stop deluding ourselves and get serious. And maybe the other countries will respect us too and say, okay, now that we know.
That's what they are. That's what I'm saying to you. If you look over, see, Dwight, if you have an area next to you declared as a nudist camp, how could you get upset when you look over and see nudity? You just declare who you are. Okay? Just stop playing. But Dwight, you know what? What concerns me and many Bahamians, right? The recent action in the House of Assembly is not like a genuine political necessity, but it seems to be moving to what I call the politics of intimidation. Any government that governs by pressure rather than persuasion begin to resemble a shakedown more than a democracy. It's a dangerous method. Comply, stay quiet, or be made to be feel the weight of the state. Dwight, we all should know how constitutional democracy works, and what we are seeing is not how it's functioning. I just want to say to PLPs, the Prime Minister is not a don, Cabinet is not a crew, public institution not instrument of personal leverage, and the Treasury is not a tribute. You know, these, and first of all, secondly, we are not subjects to be managed by fear. So what we have to do is to tell Parliament to get to the business of governance. We're talking about the budget, and we don't need the strongman theater that we are seeing. We need lawful leadership, transparent decision-making, institutional restraint, public accountability. And I'm just simply saying this. When an administration begins to blur the line between political authority and coercive control, the country must call it for what it is. It's not leadership. It's an erosion of democratic trust. We need good governance.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Boy, these text messages. I can't read that one, but I'm not the one being naive. It's clearly some of the other texters or the ones who have agendas are sending text messages because they have agendas, right? We've got to stop playing games. We know what's going on here. We've seen the playbook for decades. It's the same old story. Caller, what say you? Good morning. You're live on the air. Hi, good morning. Are you there? Hi, good morning.
On.
Yes, you can hear you.
Yeah, if I say good morning, you get the wrong impression because it ain't really all that good things I've been hearing.
You sure?
Yeah, no, because, I mean, okay, let me just test you with this one. And Mr. Alcides may be able to relate to this.
Oh, boy.
In the finance, there is in the is used to measure the relative strength index. Do you know what is the relative strength index of the Bahamas currently?
No.
Okay. Well, what this indicator measures is whether an asset is either overbought or oversold. And in any direction it goes in, you can still make money. Because if it's overbought, you realize now you need to go in the other direction. If it's oversold, you go in the other direction. So what's been happening here is the Bahamas, with all this diversity, in one way, we could be looking at us being oversold. And people are making money because look at $1.2 million being spent to boost our image in a situation as this. People make money in the other direction. So I advise persons to don't get caught up too much in all these scandals that's been going on from rum running days. Just ride the trend and see what you could do while the trend is moving in your favor. You understand what I'm saying, Dwight?
Not really. But
we'll
I
be
hear you.
talking about this forever and ever because there's nothing going to happen as relates to an investigation unless the Prime Minister wants it. So that's the end of that for the FNM in sending it to the police. It's not going to happen. All right? So were they talking about anything financial yesterday? It's supposed to be a financial debate, right?
We heard a little bit about what some of the ministries are doing, housing and downtown and tourism-related stuff.
Yeah.
Sports,
but for the most part, we're talking, huh?
Yeah, we heard a little from the MPs who have portfolios as ministers. Yes, we heard some stuff.
Yeah,
but
for the
you know,
most
it's
part,
not
right,
as sexy as this other stuff, I guess.
Yeah, but what they spend most of the time talking about? Scandals, right? And Bahamians need to wake up and realize that we may be doing this.
I don't know if it's most of the time, you know. I mean,
Huh?
that might be the coverage might focus on that, but I don't know if it's most of the time they spend talking about that.
Well, you know, okay. I mean, you know, I hear Mr. Mitchell clearly said, "Look, man, I'm trying to protect you from yourself. Leave this alone because this may dig up some worms that, you know, look, I remember my uncle, before he planted on his acres of land, he used to burn the fields to get rid of all of the bugs. But we continue to elect individuals in Parliament before we burn the field. So what we put back in Parliament, all the bugs still there. You understand what I'm saying, right? I'm not saying burn anything, but just...
Right.
Okay,
We get it. Yes. Thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate it. All right. People talking about human trafficking and people connected to human trafficking, and no one seems to care. I don't know if it's no one, but it doesn't seem to hurt your reputation around here, if that is what. So we need a list. We need to have a centrally located list of the crimes that Bahamians are not going to tolerate, and where it happens, because apparently, depending on where it happens, we can accept it. So we can all be on the same page. This is what it means to be Bahamian. I support this type of crime. I support it when it happens over here, there, or whatever. These are the crimes. This very short list of the crimes that we anyway, whatever. Just say it. Just say it. Let's all acknowledge it and stop the pretense. This texter says here, drug dealers are the modern day Robin Hood and must be respected and loved. Plus, drug dealers are getting reparations, and drug dealing is a hard job. They are able to do well financially instead of having a dead-end job as a low-paid news reporter. A drug dealer can aspire to be prime minister one day. They did put an LOL after the low-paid news reporter thing. I appreciate your text. This person says, your Bahamians must confront an uncomfortable reality. We have entrusted the highest office in the country to a political leader whose public posture has too often appeared tolerant of or sympathetic to or dismissive about the culture of criminality. Whoa. When a national leader appears more comfortable defending associations than condemning them without hesitation, the public is entitled to ask whether the machinery of government is being used for governance or for pressure, punishment, and control. It's many of our leaders, many of our elected officials seem to have this very attitude when it comes to these things. Many. And I say members of the public are like that too. Many people here. This might, as I've been saying, I said it earlier, this could be a part of the culture to not have an issue with crime unless it affects you directly. Wow. Caller, what say you? Good morning, you're live.
How you doing, Dwight?
Doing well.
Dwight, you know what the vehement people don't like? Like Dr. Minna say, if you can investigate corruption, investigate all. Where was Marvin Dame's boat going with all that cocaine? All right? Y'all don't talk about that.
We do talk about it, and that was his business partner. And all of these things need to be investigated, and that person is facing charges right now, right? So all of this, and they keep saying it, people around here are just a little too comfortable, maybe not vetting their friends enough, maybe just because, I've known you all my life, I don't need to scrutinize and take a closer look at your dealings and what you do and whether you are someone I should be associated with. It doesn't seem like that's done. Once use my boy forever, no matter what. And that's beautiful, I guess, but, if you're going to be running for higher office, the magnifying glass is going to be on you. And you will have to answer some uncomfortable questions. But everybody around here seems to want to run for office and doesn't care about what has happened in the past or who they know and what they do. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well. Good morning.
Yeah, Dwight, the thing is about this whole matter is 720. I have a problem with the language that is being used by the Foreign Affairs Minister. While we all are hoping, some of us, that there's no politician number one in the country, but we can't just be naive and just bury our heads in the sand and don't believe that there's a possibility that a politician number one could exist. So the comments are becoming too reckless now. When you're calling these things nothing burgers, and then you're calling them frivolous and malicious scandals or allegations, that is setting a dangerous precedent. If this thing turns out after the investigation, it turns out to be true. How do we now repair our reputation internationally, globally? I mean, just so we are talking about the Michael Missick sentencing. In other jurisdictions, they are talking about this matter. But it seems as if that the Foreign Affairs Minister, and those comments, I don't take no responsibility for none of them. As a Bahamian, I am not uttering, I don't support that type of language as a Bahamian, but the only person seems that they don't want no one to talk about it is us, Bahamians. And they're putting out these innuendos and their supporters. If the Foreign Affairs Minister is going to brush it off as nothing, what do you think? Edison speaks not only for himself, he has a big following and supporters. That's an organization. And I believe we need to be a little bit more responsible on our deploy and the way we utter these type of nonsense. When you look at the ambassador's comment when a question was put to him, you see how he carefully answered that without causing any damage?
Yeah, absolutely.
But we have to be very careful, man, Dwight, man. And we honestly got to be very careful because we rely heavily on tourism. You're talking about the most powerful country on the planet. You see how they are handling and dealing with leaders in other jurisdictions, but makes us believe that we are not susceptible to the same type of punishment. We have to be very, 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 very careful. That's all I would say on this matter at this time, until the investigation is completed. Maybe we need to do our own investigation to see exactly what is going on. But that is not a way to call the U.S. bluff so you can get information. That to me, that is not a foreign policy. I don't know what in the world that is, but it's not a foreign policy, and it shouldn't be coming from a foreign affairs minister at this time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Let's take some more calls. Good morning. Hi, good morning. Are you there?
Oh.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Yes, good morning.
Morning, Mr. How are you, sir?
Doing well.
Okay. I just have one or two quick points that I'd like to mention. Saw yesterday that the leader of the opposition and party went to police headquarters to make an official complaint. Okay, that is good and fine, right? Having some understanding of how those procedures go. I am wondering whether or not what do they actually expect to come out of that based on the fact of the preliminary information that not only the government actually has. I'm talking about what the government has, which is the highest entity in relation to information, foreign affairs, liaisoning with other districts. What is it that they're expecting to happen out of that? That's point number one.
Before you go on, so didn't you call yesterday and say that the police are investigating?
No. I'm not talking. I have no problem with that, sir.
But you did say that, right? I mean,
yeah, I did.
Although we've not
saying.
heard this. So, so you didn't have an issue with it yesterday?
No. I'm not saying that I have an issue with that. I'm just simply saying, based on the information that has been received thus far.
There's a whole lot that could be done, right? We have CCTV all over the place, supposedly. Maybe we have CCTV supposedly all over the place. Maybe there's footage at the house. Could we see whether there were people who fit these descriptions? Go and check the files
right, I don't
and
want
see.
you to think that I'm trying to defend wrong, or that I'm trying to cover up for anyone, It is wrong. When they find out who it is, deal with them. That's the point what I'm trying to say. And what I'm also trying to say is we have a culture in this country which is quite interesting. And what I mean by that, how many Bahamians have relatives, close friends, that they know have been either convicted or they definitely know have had illegal issues with drugs and drug trafficking. And they participate not only in businesses or rental cars or apartments or Airbnbs, but these known individuals, and in some cases they've partnered with them and participate with this. That's the large elephant in the room.
All right. So
any Bahamian, if they know any family member that they have had interactions with that were either in drug trafficking, and by the way, it is sad that we don't know that it was said. Anyway, I'm not going to say that because I'm going to leave that right there with the gentleman and the boat full of cocaine.
So 1 second from
if
me.
If you want to know the lifestyle of those people, ask the people in Eleuthera.
All right, turn on your radio for us. We're getting some feedback. But let me ask you this. You bring that up, and I was saying that earlier, that we are too relaxed and lax in our attitude about drug dealers.
Right.
But why are you bringing that up? So that is that. I said it may even be the culture.
Okay, you asked me to tell you why I'm bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bringing it up because one of the things that I find about our culture is that we have this pretend la-la land concept in our minds that if it's someone else doing these things, and we have people that we either live with, close family members, and all these other things, we understand
we get it.
That's wrong all around the board.
Okay. Yes.
All I'm just saying is if you're going to be covering the same thing like was said earlier by one of your callers, if you're going to cover all one crime of one person, or you shouldn't be dealing with these kinds of people, let's apply it to everybody.
Totally agree.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. And especially if you know this, for the love of God, don't talk foolishness about running for office. Please. Okay. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Dwight, sorry I had to call you back. That's
Hi.
a long justification statement.
I don't know what it was. I'm not sure. Right. But too many Bahamians love their drug dealers. That's the bottom line. Apparently, that's period, underline, and bold it.
because see, the Bahamas been every community right now today have a drug dealer or drug dealer.
What?
Or yeah, Dwight, you think he ain't and live by you?
Well, I mean,
Yeah, man.
I don't know. Okay.
Dwight. The Bahamas, right? We've been told to put our head in the sand and just pretend, Dwight, for real. But at the end of the day, the Bahamas been a drug dealing culture for a very long time, and the PLP justifier who just called, he was right when he said everybody knows somebody, family, relatives, whatever whatever you call it. That's facts. Look in our parliament, right? We seeing trade.
I have a bad feeling now this show is going to be taken into evidence in the U.S. court. this is going to be a problem.
Right.
Oh wow. Okay.
But when they talk about I didn't hear the indictment for Marvin Dames, right, inside the
his business partner.
New York court. I didn't hear the indictment. Maybe you'll need to replay that.
His business partner, not him.
Right, his business partner. No, I know of his business partner, but see, he could possibly be tied to that, possibly, right? But I didn't hear his indictment, like how we are hearing the indictment of the Jonathan Gardner fellow, right? So it's a different case, because at the end of the day, we are getting information out of America about somebody who is indicted, right, and who could possibly be connected to business transactions in this country with our government. I think that's totally different than just drug dealing and a boat. While no drug dealing, it should be carrying on, especially by our authorities, right? Or they should have no type of connection with that, if they do. But the Bahamas been like this for a long time, and I can leave on this comment. We are one of the most one of the person who run our country today, Dwight. He used to represent all of the drug dealers in the 80s, all of them.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Wow. Just squeeze in a couple more calls, and got a few messages before we take a break. Good morning, caller. You're live on the air.
Yeah, Dwight, I just wanted to let you know, there's cameras in Parliament, right, to record the in and going out and out of it, right?
Well, this is what I'm saying. I mean, they could easily...
The question is, it's been months now, why haven't we taken the opportunity to rewind the cameras? We didn't have to be guessing.
Right? I mean, I don't know if they have the footage from 2024, but if they do...
all of it is stored in the cloud.
Let's hope so. This could have... This doesn't have to be dragging on so long.
Right. But see, the reason you have to ask is, if they have even already looked at the footage, why they don't want to now talk about it. And just for Johnny Two-Time, right, he needs to talk to the Agler, because we need a long spin and those washing machines to get the water out of the spin that he came with this morning.
So you're saying he should go and work for him? That's what you're saying? Yeah.
No, I want him to go program those machines to do the spin he does. Those people could spin less on the dryer if you could keep spinning and get all the water out. But what happens is that duplicity is when you try to twist reality. So you said, why aren't we asking about someone who was not named in the indictment as a co-conspirator? And then at the same time, you're saying that these indictments or the people who are making these allegations holds no credibility. See, this is what I call fire hosing, gaslighting, and all those things I tell you about. These guys are bringing out every psychological maneuver they can to just totally mind F Bohemians. Thank you.
Okay, wow. Caller, good morning. You're live. Hi, are you there? No, let's take that other one there before we get to your text messages. Good morning, caller. You're live on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
I want to wish a happy, top-notch 1 month of progress of government. Today is the 12th.
Oh, boy. Thank you very much. All right, let's read these messages. The U.S. Ambassador's statement can be seen as a shot across the bow to both the foreign and Speaker of the House. Really? I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure Not sure about that. The statement about the politician came from a U.S. investigation report, not from the streets. Well, that part, yes, indeed. This person says here, Bahamians are concerned about the cost of living and what the government is doing to make their lives better. I heard minister after minister talk about this in the House of Assembly yesterday, but no coverage, including a great contribution by the Minister of Works. So stop beating this horse. The U.S. ambassador already has said, and investigations going on. Also, Mitchell said it might be a nothing burger. He never said it was a nothing burger. He never said it was a nothing burger. Texter. Oh, boy. There's coverage of what the MPs and the minister had to say in the papers today. There definitely is, and yesterday as well. But they promised to do their own investigation. Where does that stand? Where does that stand? Yeah? They've promised investigations on a lot of things. Where do they stand? This texter says here, I bet you politician one will not travel to the U.S. for anything, even official government business. Okay. Ride the trend. So sad what we extol as a people. Accountability is being put aside for what? Because we don't believe we can expect an answer? Just move on to the next thing? No. Something's missing. But anyway, if this is how, as a government, you respond to things we can see happening, how much more does your decision-making behind closed doors disregard our people's interests and priorities? It's gossip because you either can't or don't want to address the matter? Yeah. The Bahamas has chosen progress. Lord, help our country's reputation. That's the text. This person says, Bahamians just must be patient. Just like we replaced piracy with gun running, then gun running was replaced with rum running, which is replaced with people smuggling, which is replaced with drug running. You sure that's the right order? And I think they're concurrent. In a few years or two, drug running will be replaced by the Okay, I'm not sure what's happening. Why be patient for what? The caller was saying the police were investigating. Now he doesn't see what effect the police investigating would do. Yes, yesterday he said that. That is a duplicitous mind, a dangerous one. Tell him to take that spin somewhere else, I guess they're saying. Yeah. I would like to say how proud of the MP for Long Island, how proud I am of the MP for Long Island, the way he is keeping the government's feet to the fire in this debate. Okay. I don't know any family, relative, or friend dealing drugs, but I know an MP is sitting in the House alleged to be asking for millions to facilitate cocaine trafficking. Allegedly. This is getting much more attention than had it been tabled. In or out of the House of Assembly, the matter will not go away. It speaks to the Bahamas, not just politician number one. So if this drug culture is so prevalent, then we, I guess the good people, will deal. Something, again, words are missing. Words are missing from your text. Okay. I hope one day you realize how much of a sham this country is, Dwight. Okay, we are being controlled from outside by way of those inside puppet politicians. You're hoping that for me. Okay. Okay, so the text says, yes, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. Speaking about accountability. Thank you. And in the Bahamas, since 1987... when Sir Lyndon announced that Bahamians can become millionaires. Wait, okay, so I'm going to stop. It can stop. Yeah. Well, I've heard everything today. The excuses and apologists and condemnation. Everybody has lots of different views on what's going on here. Will we get any answers? Not just to this, but to so many things over the past years that we haven't had any answers to. So many investigations that are still in progress with no updates on anything at all. What are we doing about that? Just accept it? That's just the way it is? Got to go to the news. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
But what good is building if your booty can't find a beat? I don't want to know, girl. So please don't do that to me. Cause it would break my heart, break my heart, break my heart. If I find out you can't move.
Struggling to find your financial rhythm? Make that move to Fidelity and let us help you orchestrate your financial goals into perfect harmony with free financial coaching sessions. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
Not all water is created equal. Consider this. You've got many sources of drinking water at your disposal, and they seem like viable options. But are they? Now consider this. Quenching your thirst with water that's perfectly pure. AquaPure water has been tested and proven to be perfectly pure. If quality matters to you, reach for a bottle of AquaPure. Be sure, AquaPure.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Friday, June 12th, 2020. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan with you on this Friday morning, and it's time for our monthly Safe and Sound series every second Friday. Each month, we are joined by Gamal Nuri with Preventative Measures, and Gamal is with us this morning. Good morning, sir. Always a pleasure.
Good morning, Dwight. It's a pleasure to be here. I hope everyone is well. Good morning.
Yes, indeed. All right. So this is an interesting one today. We are talking just about security. Security, what does it mean? And so many things to consider there. Let's talk about why this is an interesting topic, and then we'll get into it.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's interesting, the current discussions that are going around country about what security should do, what they can't do. Obviously, business has security at different levels, different tiers that ensure that that business can run. I mean, without security, you won't be able to operate. And that starts as simple as the locking mechanism, alarm systems, your vetting system, if you're bringing onboarding new employees, how those employees operate within your work and your space. So security is a very important component part of operating business, of how we live. And like I said, we want to help and defray some of those misconceptions about what it is and how it should be operating. And that's for not just the the customer, but also the client who decides that they want to take on some type of security initiative. So helping persons get a better understanding of what is security, what is it, what is the purpose, you know, the noun versus the verb, that type of thing,
Oh,
the
wow.
actions versus what exactly it is.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's. What would you say are some of the biggest myths or misconceptions about what exactly security is and what it should be?
But first, let me define security. Security would be the creation of a condition or an environment that reduces loss and harm. So you're trying to create an environment that is safe, that is secure, and that is allowing persons to come into your environment, inclusive of yourself, obviously, to be free from any type of harm, any type of loss, or any type of risk. So that's essentially what it is. The misconception, I think the predominant misconception is that security are law enforcement, that security are police. This is your private police force, and they can arrest, they can enforce laws, and that's a general misconception. I often hear when working with clients, well, what are they doing? They're just standing up there, and that's what they're there for. They are a deterrent. They are not necessarily a response mechanism. They are a deterrent to prevent criminality, to prevent loss incidents, to prevent disruptive incidents. So I think that's the biggest misconception.
All right, so that's a great point there. So when things do pop off, as people say, what should you expect from security and what should you not expect?
Well, certainly your expectation is that in the first instance, security would have been a preventative mechanism. And that's why I go back, if something does pop off, right? And see, that's an after effect. That's when in more instances, more than usual, that's when law enforcement roles come into play. Because, for example, let's go to the pop-off thing. Here's a disruptive incident at your business. Your expectation would have been for security to recognize and then from that preempt the disruptive incident from occurring. So if there's an argument going on, if there's a customer who's being overly aggressive, your expectation is that security at some point should engage and hopefully de-escalate that situation before it gets into a physical confrontation. Obviously, if that does not work, then the expectation is for security to protect and help to reduce that or mitigate that situation. However, in many instances, that gets kind of gray because, again, that now rolls into physically taking someone into custody, searching someone, and all of those roles are traditionally reserved for law enforcement. So it gets gray, and it isn't now a law enforcement role. It's more a citizen trying to stop another citizen. And so that's where the gray begins.
Yeah. So does it matter depending on the jurisdiction? Because we know in the Bahamas, what a security officer can do is very different from in some other parts where they are armed. Or let's talk about that and what happens if you're in a different jurisdiction. Should we?
It matters not. It matters not if you're in a different.
Okay.
No, it matters not because this is not something that I'm speaking unique to the Bahamas. Even with armed quote unquote security officers, they still only have powers of the average citizen. If we look at jurisdictions like, let's say, even Jamaica, keeping it in the Caribbean, Trinidad, where some institutions have armed their security officers, they are still under general civilian type rules as opposed to law enforcement. They are not law enforcement. They are still under and subject to civilian management or civilian law versus, say, laws that or rules that apply to law enforcement. So it becomes very, like I said, it becomes gray. And I'm glad you brought up the point because there is, again, another misconception. Let's put a gun in the hands of all security.
Right.
This is a cry that's been out there for quite some time. And I think it's a very slippery slope, notwithstanding what are the conditions, what training, what laws are going to be amended to allow for security officers to carry firearms, and what parameters are they going to be able to operate in when they do carry a firearm.
Yeah, I want to explore that a little more, though. Why do you say slippery slope? And what about non-lethal weapons, maybe we hope pepper spray is non-lethal. What about those things? What complications perhaps does this add if we introduce those?
It becomes a liability issue. It becomes a legal liability issue if the officer, and this is what you have to expect. Again, you talked about expectation. So now you're expecting me as a security officer, because I have a gun, because I carry a firearm, you're expecting me to what, engage someone and shoot them, right? To use the or discharge the weapon, as we would say, right? That's your expectation, correct?
I guess some would, yeah.
Yeah, because you've given me a firearm, so that's a reasonable expectation that I at some point would have to engage someone and discharge that weapon. Now, let's say that when I do engage, I shoot that individual. It's determined that that shooting was illegal. It was unjustified, and we see it all the time. We see it when police officers or any type of law enforcement officer discharges their weapon. The scrutiny, the review that takes place to ensure that that particular engagement was justifiable. Does the company, not the security company in the first instance, and the client, do they have the appetite to manage that type of reputational risk, the civil liability, and the criminal risk involved with taking someone's life? This is where I see the slippery slope, where law enforcement has certain immunities, they have certain training. Obviously, the government cannot be sued out of business, but your business can. So all of these things have to be taken into account outside of just putting a firearm in the hands of a security officer.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned less lethal. Similarly, same thing, same exposure for the entity. If you're going to now discharge a chemical agent or a taser at an individual, you're not law enforcement. What are the mitigating factors involved in that? So it's not just as simple as putting the device, be it a less lethal option or a lethal option, in the hands of a security officer.
Right, and I guess even if you have subcontract out the security aspect of your company, you're still going to face those liabilities if something should happen.
Of course, because they're your agent operating on your property.
Yeah.
You still have some duty of care in regards to how that particular agent operates on your site. So insurance in another conversation is the provider even prepared to cover that?
Wow.
We read the fine print. With the various insurance policies. Is the provider prepared to take on the risk of a armed officer on your property? What due diligence have you taken on, or what have you done to ensure that you're covered? And that's why I talked about the civil liability, because insurance may not even come into play. Your insurance being the client or the insurance of the security company.
Yeah. All right, so I want to talk a little more about expectations of security. We know this is a big issue in the States. Employees and security officers running after, fighting people who are disrupting the business, stealing from the store.
Yes.
In many ways about this. Let's discuss that. What is reasonable to expect, and what should you not expect here?
Right. And again, very good point, Dwight, where you have seen in many jurisdictions in the United States what they call a no-chase policy. A no-chase policy says if this individual is seen taking, a pair of tennis or picking up a rack of clothing and running out of the store, you are not to give chase.
Wow.
Again, the issue there, this is for security and staff in many instances, is that it becomes a liability issue. They've grabbed up a pair of tennis. Let's say, a pair of tennis, I'm not going to call any brand names, but those $200 pairs of tennis, right? So they grab a $200 pair of tennis. They run out of your store. Your security officer or your staff give chase. They catch that individual. That individual gets injured because now it becomes a use of force issue. What type of force did you use to restrain, to bring them back into the store? It becomes is it a lawful arrest? Because now this apprehension occurred out of your store, out of your physical boundaries. This perhaps occurred in the parking lot. So there are a lot of different things that ripple out And so in the U.S., it became such an issue where we're now trying to mitigate a $200 loss, but now we're fighting a several $100,000 lawsuit because of the various rules that were broken because the staff member and the security were not operating within their authority. And this is where you have the same concerns, the same exposure here in the Bahamas. And that's why I said it isn't as simple as that. You know, I, as a security officer and as a trainer, when I train, we talk about, you know, security officers are not bouncers. If you're seeing a disruptive event, what we would have had in the past, an officer would take someone and put them outside, physically take them outside. But now, you know, it becomes a matter of assault. You know, what was the reason for you putting your hands on the individual? Now they're claiming their wrist is sprained. So there's a lot of concern that you have to manage in that particular instance.
Yeah. And so even if it stays in the store, even if it becomes violent in the store, if the customer starts getting aggressive, what should the security officer do, and what should be the expectation of the business owner?
Exactly. So now you're looking at self-defense. You're looking at and where I'm defending, and that's why I mentioned going back to civilian applications. That's an issue of self-defense.
Okay.
That's an issue of protecting a particular asset against damage or loss, and that has to be properly articulated and trained to the security officer, to the staff. You know, this is why I'm saying it's different for law enforcement. The police officer working in a store can arrest, can restrain. I think there may be some challenges as relates to that when the officer is privately engaged, because now you're working you've become an agent for that particular entity. But there is where, like I said, where you have to make sure that you have trained your officers, you have outlined policy, you have outlined signage needs to be in place regarding what can happen. You know, we see in some stores where it indicates shoplifters will be prosecuted, right? That's all fine and well. But now, how do you detain that shoplifter? What's your policy for your security officer to detain that person you observed, taking or stealing your items? So those little nuances are in there that have to be properly trained and properly explained to the security officer and to the client. I think the client has to be a bit more knowledgeable in the product and the service that they're receiving. And this goes back to the initial question. What are some of the challenges? Another challenge is the client doesn't understand what they're buying.
Yeah.
They see a guy in uniform and they figure now that, hey, I have my police, right? Or I have on the other end, I have someone to go and get lunch from the lunch vendor down the street. I've seen all extremes of it, where the client is not knowledgeable in what they're buying. They just have an expectation. They don't test. They don't review the claims of the security officer, of the security team rather, that's saying, hey, we're going to be able to reduce your risk.
Yeah. Caller, we're going to get, let's go to the caller, and then so many things you just said when it's actually police officers as security officers that we see frequently here. But we'll get back to that in a bit. We're talking with Gamal Nuri with Preventative Measures. Caller, good morning. You're live on the air.
Hi, yes. Good morning, Dwight. How are you today? Good. Brother Nuri, how are you? I hope all is going well. Just wanted to make a quick comment on today's program. Serving the U.S. police and security, and also on the Royal Bahamas Police Force and security owner. One thing that I've noticed the difference in this aspect is that the expectation of a store owner in the Bahamas, they expect more than what they are getting. They're expecting more than what they're getting in private security. Private security in the Bahamas, I've realized, is that you cannot really, your job is to observe, record, and report. You cannot get into any restraint unless you witness an assault, unless it's a felony type situation where you'll be covered by law. If you get into a situation where it's a shoplifting, you can ask them to stop, you can ask them to put it back. But if you put hands on somebody, know that you're taking on liability. In the United States, security guards carry weapons. They're trained, but most of them are required to because the expectation of a business they expect for you to step in and protect their property and to make an arrest or detain a person until law enforcement gets there. So, and if you work at Goodman's Jewelers in the U.S. And you're a security guard there, they expect for you to protect their property. They expect for you to protect their clients because you're armed. And you do have the laws of security in the U.S. covers their security officers, whereas in the Bahamas, I've realized that it doesn't as much. I think Nuri probably would agree with this, that our security laws does need to be strengthened as far as our security officers are concerned.
Okay. Thank you very much. I was going to ask you how you feel about it. You think it does need to be strengthened. Thank you. Gamal Nuri, what say you?
Oh, definitely. I agree wholeheartedly with Mr. Ferguson. I'll call his last name, right?
Okay.
Good to hear his voice. I agree wholeheartedly. Our security laws are extremely weak, and I'm going to get on a little soapbox now, right? It's unfortunate. It's very disappointing over the years where we haven't seen that an improvement on the rules governing and regulating how security companies operate in the country. I think it's a service to the officers who are on the front line, the security officer. I think it's very much a disservice to them. It's a disservice to the client who is hiring this company and has a certain level of expectation, not understanding that there's no requirement to do many things. There's no legal requirement. I'm not saying there's no requirement. There's no major legal requirement to become a security officer. And so I'm giving you a product, just like the caller indicated. I'm giving you a product, but you as the client, you have this expectation that I'm able to do as simple as writing. I mean, I should be able to write, eh? The caller indicated observe and report. So now what am I reporting? Wow. And I can't document what I'm reporting. But because the bar is so low, these individuals are allowed to slip in, and there's no requirement to advance or to create a more professional officer. And again, it's unfortunate because a trained security officer is what we would call a force multiplier. There are more security officers in the Bahamas than there are police officers. Okay, because almost every entity has a security officer or multiple security officers. There are more security officers. So if you have a more trained individual, doesn't that lessen the load for law enforcement?
Yeah.
Doesn't that reduce some of the work that they would need to do? As simple as an incident occurring, and if you have a trained security officer who can now take that report, who can prepare the document, as opposed to the police now having to come in and do all of that preparation, they can now be in a review position. They're going to review the documents to make sure that everything is aligned, but certainly a lot of that paperwork on the onset can now be transferred to the security officer, so you'll reduce involved in that investigation. But these little things, I think we miss. And then because we don't have trained individuals, they don't know what they're supposed to do. Then we have these incidents escalating into large disruptive events.
Well, you said something. I mean, I never thought of it before. So, are you not able to detain somebody here in a store until the authorities arrive? I mean, what do the laws say? What are the rules? What can you do? What can't you do?
Okay, so you can detain, but like the caller said, and I agree, you're taking on certain liability, because if that person becomes aggressive, who saw the incident? I mean, there are a lot of things that need to be I's dotted and T's crossed, for lack of a better word, right? If that person becomes aggressive and they decide to fight their way out, those it's a different type requirement. Did someone actually see? So this has to be in my view. This is what you talk when you all about a citizen's arrest, right? So if I see someone actually remove lifting video, I can do that. I can make an arrest. If I tell them why I'm arresting them, again, do I have handcuffs to put on? Has the person been trained? This is a security officer now.
Mhm.
Has he been trained on how to use the handcuffs? Those types of things you have to mitigate. It isn't just about holding me. What is your appetite for that?
Mhm. Okay.
What is your appetite for that?
And
so
as
you
you
can
said-
do it, but understand that so it isn't that you can't do it, but what are the conditions that allow you to do it? That's really the question, Dwight.
Right.
I can do this, but what are the conditions that allow me to take on this risk?
And you say it would be a citizen's arrest.
It can be a citizen's arrest, but there are certain parameters for a citizen to make an arrest.
Right.
Okay, and one of those fundamental parameters is that the citizen or and this is where, again, that's why I said it goes back to civilian law, because that's the arrest powers of a security officer, but that's the same arrest powers as anybody in the store.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same arrest powers of any customer in the store who saw the person stealing. So you see the difference here?
Yeah.
Everybody has that authority. So it's not unique to a security officer. That's the manager can do it, the parking boy, the cashier, whoever saw that incident occur.
Mm-hmm.
That's everyone has that. But now, are they capable? Are they capable of affecting that arrest properly?
So maybe I watched too many movies, but so so if you say to a customer that you believe has stolen something, can you come with me to the office, please? They don't have to do this. That what?
Of course
they can like, oh heck no, I'm going, and don't.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
You don't have the right to stop me or detain me. Well, okay. All right. So I want to get back to this. Police officers as security guards. We see that a lot here, especially Christmas time. What does the law say about this? And are there special rules when it comes to this? Do they have more powers than the regular security guard when they're functioning in this? Is it moonlighting? Is it official police business? What goes on here?
No, you have something that's private engagement. Private engagement is where and I'm outlining this because you made some references to moonlighting. Private engagement is where you, as the business or the individual, depending on what you require, you write the commissioner requesting the services of a police officer to assist with whatever the requirement is, and the commissioner approves that, and then the commissioner would assign an officer. Or an off-duty officer, that's the practice from what I understand. An off-duty officer would be assigned, so it wouldn't be impacting the operational functionality of the police force. You're not getting an on-duty officer. You're getting an off-duty officer who you would pay for. We would pay for to carry out the particular security requests or requirements that you require.
Mm-hmm.
So that's called private engagement. Anything else becomes subject to what do you call moonlighting or unauthorized use, that type of thing.
Right.
So that is a legal function, a legal process that's been authorized by the commission, to be authorized by the commissioner of police.
Mm-hmm. So when that happens, you are still a police officer, and
yes, because you're privately engaged. Right. The customer has privately engaged a police officer, so there are certain extent the same powers the police officer would have on duty are now given this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they have a little bit more leeway, a little bit more leverage. Usually, the customer the client rather would request that officer is armed, and usually that is even something that you put in writing, that you're requiring an armed police officer for a particular function or service, and that person is still a police officer. That person is still a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge, however, I think, is that the actions of that individual now, because they're still acting as a police, but they're acting as your agent, could become again slippery if their actions are deemed to be illegal. We've put in this arena, we've put a firearm in the arena. So there's an extent, and this is why I said you have to understand what we're saying. I've asked for an armed police officer, there's an expectation that officer, a reasonable expectation that at some point the officer may discharge his weapon while working as an agent for me. Who takes on that liability?
Yeah. Wow.
Who takes on that liability?
So in the case of a moonlighting officer, what changes then?
What changes then?
Mm-hmm.
You operating illegally.
Oh boy.
You're operating illegally. You and the client are let's say that word, right? But you and the client are operating illegally, and you're opening up yourself to a whole, Pandora's box of issues. Because let's say nothing happened, but the commissioner discovers this, right? So definitely the officer will be held, will be dealt with, and the commissioner could probably even put charges against your business, entity.
And if something happens, you are not a police officer, and so you don't have the right to do the things that police officers can do, right?
That's again the gray area, Dwight.
Wow.
That's, again, the gray area. That's a good question, because again, a police officer is deemed to always be on duty, right? And now the officer is acting outside. I have to refer that to an attorney to probably outline that in a bit more detail.
Oh boy!
But certainly, if I'm not authorized to work at an event, let's say I'm hired by moonlighting, and someone says, "Neri, come and do this for me." And I'm also using, as we would say, the government gun, right? And I do some things. You open up yourself. Oh boy, that's a hell of a problem.
That's pretty serious. Wow.
Yeah, very much, very much.
We got another call. Let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're live on the air.
Good morning. Is that me?
Yes, you're live.
Morning, Dwight.
Morning.
I have been waiting for years, honestly, for a show like this.
Okay.
This topic.
Yes.
I have two questions. I'll just ask them and hang up and listen. The first one has never affected me, but inquiring minds want to know. There are stores that have posted around their facilities, if you break it, you bought it, or if your child breaks something, you have to pay. And I've asked them, exactly how do you intend to extract the money from me? Are you going to hold me down and go through my wallet or my purse? I think not. And breaking something is not a criminal offense. Surely that's why you have insurance, right? And nobody is ever able to answer that. That's one. Never affected me. The second one has affected me. I have completed a transaction. I've paid for my items. Either the packing person, the cashier, or me put my items in the bag after paying. And generally, the cashier is near to where the security is standing. And yet still, when I come to the door, it's not enough for me to just pass the receipt. They actually want to look in my bag. And I have every single time said, no, you cannot. I can't go back to your cash register and look at my money. So you can't look at my bag. It's none of your business. One time, and that's why I said affected me, one time it was me and my daughter. We're walking out. I passed the man the receipt. He asked to look in the bag. I said, no. He grabs the bag that was hanging on my daughter's arm and hurt her arm. I reported it to the person who was the supervisor. He reviewed the camera and said he didn't see anything, that the security did anything wrong. He's kind of lucky we didn't sue him because it's not worth what they say. The squeeze ain't worth the juice, or the juice ain't worth the squeeze, right? They have to understand they can't do that. Right? So I'll have to listen to you.
Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
Let's do the latter one first, Gamal. This is becoming a big issue.
I'd say I hope she doesn't show up there anymore, right? But that's another. Certainly, no. If you have purchased, and she makes a valid point. If you have purchased, she now becomes the owner. That's hers. That's her items, and it's in her bag. And so the officer cannot. He could request a search, or because that's what it becomes. And in fact, some people could even argue it's an unlawful detention because he's now stopping her from leaving. That's a whole, like I said, a whole kettle of fish, right? Because I'm leaving a store, you are standing in the way. You're not putting your hands on me, but you're not allowing me to pass until I comply with a search, again, which is, I would say is an illegal search. So it's interesting that, now I know some of the stores that I go to, they would ask just to see the receipt, and they put a little mark on the receipt, right? For what it's worth, right? For what it's worth, right? But nevertheless, no, if I've taken possession of those items and they're in my bag or in my key, a security officer cannot stop me. Notice again, stop me. That means you're prohibiting me from leaving. And then secondly, demand a invasion of my privacy, because I may not want you to see what I bought. I may have bought some personal items, may not want you to see. So that's my privacy. That's my private item. So no, I don't think that's an authorized or a good move by whatever business that is. And again, she is within her rights, in my opinion. And again, I'm not an attorney. I'm just speaking from my experience as a security professional. That becomes a search, and she has the right to refuse the search.
Yeah.
As it relates to the
Break it, you
second
bought
question,
it. Mm-hmm.
break it, you bought it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that around, and yes, that is a more so. I think it's very difficult to enforce. I agree. I think it's more a deterrent or a warning to be careful. You're moving in and around items that that are fragile. You may have kids running around, that type of thing. I mean, I could be wrong in that again, but I think that becomes very difficult if it's accidental. Now, if I pick it up and throw it across the room, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm walking by and I may be subject to that. So that's something I think it's going to be difficult to enforce if it's an accident.
Yeah. Wow.
Notwithstanding the signage.
All right, we've got a few text messages. We'll get to those in a bit, but let's take this call. Good morning. You're live on the air.
Morning, Dwight.
Good morning.
Morning. Dwight.
Hi.
Oh, yeah, talk that lady just now. What if a cashier is your family or something, and you goes in the food store, and she put a lot of stuff in the bag and just you receipt? I think security have right to look at that bag, see what's in that bag. Because what on the receipt that might not be in the bag.
How would the
Huh?
witness is just a receipt lying around that she's going to give you an old receipt?
No, what I'm saying is right. You can have 10 things in the corner. She can charge you 5. And 10 things in the bag. So the security have right to look in the bag, see what's in the bag.
No, then you have to, that's a bit different. That's a different type.
I will let him look in the bag if nothing there.
No, but what I'm saying, what she described is different than what you're describing. Okay, you're describing an assumption that the cashier may have be in collusion, but you have to prove that first. That has to be presented to her. Okay, and again, now we go back to footage because she can still not, because if you're only making that assumption, you can't.
Yeah, I understand. But he might have seen something.
Again, it still is an assumption. So you have to be very careful of that. And he has to say it isn't, because this brings up a matter that occurred several years ago, right? And this goes to even with the police, right? You can't just do a random search based on suspicion. There has to be, what are you suspecting me of?
Mm-hmm.
You have to put reasonableness behind that. And again, the security officer does not have that authority. See, this is where again we talk about expectations and understanding what is the role of the officer.
Mm-hmm.
What is the role of the officer in that place?
Yeah. That's
one thing
maybe a manager, perhaps, if the manager.
Even that, because what are you based? And that's where you now have to turn that, or should turn that, over to the police.
Right.
This is the individual. You have a record of who the individual is via the credit card, via other things that are in place, video footage, right? That you can now turn it over to the police. But you have to be very on that engagement, because now what if you made this assumption, which you believe to be reasonable, but then you find that there's nothing in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
And you just held me here with my young child who crying.
And lost some customers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to have, this is where training, planning, mitigating these things, because this is not new to business. Working with clients, I'm amused sometimes because you've been in the business for X amount of years. So it's what we call inherent risk in the operation, but you don't have any outline or detail how we're going to respond to this particular incident,
mm-hmm.
to make sure that we are not exposing ourselves. Going back to the $200 pair of tennis shoes, we know that persons are going to attempt to steal it. But now when we chase and go after that, it costs us $100,000, millions of dollars in litigation fees, time off, person got injured, all these things you got to come up with out of pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A couple more calls. We're running out of time, but let's take these calls quickly. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. Are you there? Hi, we can hear you. Good morning.
Yeah, Dwight, good morning. I'm your Mr. Neary.
Yes, good morning.
That is a tricky one, I'd say. The one with the security officer at the door looking at the receipt. Now, So let me give you an example.
I'm not saying the officer. I'll agree that the officer, for whatever reason, the reason that near to look into your bag. However, if you bring the officer has to be alert. If you go into a store and you come out with a receipt and a package in your hand, you look at the receipt, but you don't see a 40-inch television that the customer is presenting. Now that creates a problem.
Sure, I mean.
So what I'm saying is, yes, okay. Neri said that the customer may have bought some items that he or she may not care for the security officer to know that, hey, I made this purchase, and I agree with that. But the officer, and like he said, it goes back to training. The officer has to be very alert and properly trained, because I'm a customer coming out with one package in my hand, but then I have someone with me who's holding a 30, 40, 50, whatever inch TV. I look at the receipt, but there's no, then that becomes an issue. So, so that's why the officer would like to see in the bag, not that he has a right to, I guess. That could be argued.
See again, listen to what the lady said. It's in her bag. It's not in plain sight. Obviously, a 50-inch TV is going to be in plain sight. See, these are the nuances that you have to be careful of. There's no way you're going to have a 50-inch TV in a shopping bag, right? So when that's in my bag, I decide to push all those things into my pocket. Let's say I walk out with items and I decide before I leave the store, I'm going to push them in my pocket, push them in my clothing, right? That's one thing. That's in my privacy. Or I decide to push them in my bag, my shopping bag, whatever the case, my backpack, right? That's not in plain sight. But you're saying now a 50-inch TV, that's different. That's a different scenario. A 50-inch TV would be in plain sight and be very obvious. Now, let me just go back a bit. What you have, and this is what you have to understand. When you see, especially in the U.S., right? This is more so in the U.S. in the larger stores. When that individual is stopped at the door, they've already seen you on the camera. They're not guessing. They've already seen you slip more than 20 items into your bag, and that's on surveillance. Then they are watching to see if you're going to make that attempt to leave the store. Then you would have left the store, then they can say, or making your way out, then they can engage you, but that's not an assumption, or that's not a guesswork. Final point, you're talking about the security officer being alert. He can be alert at the front of the store, but there's no way he's alert to aisle number 13 at the very back. So you have to weigh all of this. Did he get information that I am leaving the store with an item? All of these things come into play. But I think the main thing here is a 50-inch TV in my hand is obviously not going to be tucked away in my bag.
Right.
So plain sight, in view.
Yeah.
Those are the type of nuances that we have to be careful of in regards to how a security officer engages an individual regarding theft.
So this text, this is a different show, I guess, but they're saying they're seeing police officers at a number of different types of businesses and stores, not just at Christmas. What's up with that?
Yeah, that's again, the client, the person who requested it, deemed that these are the conditions I want to operate under, and they have a right, commissioner. The commissioner also has a right to deny it. Okay, so at the same time, the commissioner might say, no, this isn't something that I want to expose or provide private engagement for. So the commissioner has a right to deny it, but everybody has a right to ask. There's nothing wrong with that. That's in business. You know, we see it even with where police are providing outrider services for events, be they funerals or weddings, or I think I've even seen some officers use for proms, right? If that officer was engaged through the proper channels, everybody has a right to request. And the commissioner also has the right to say no.
Again, this is a different show, but the Outriders transporting your new vehicles to your car lot, that can't be right? But you don't have to answer that.
Again,
You don't have to
the commissioner makes those decisions. If they deem to be engaged, then that's up to the commissioner. I can't speak to that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it can happen, and that's all regarding an application to the commissioner of police, and that they would determine what are they prepared to have officers engaged in. I can't say if it's right or wrong.
So you got about 45 seconds, Gamal Nuri. What your final words of advice to companies that are hiring in-house or contracting out the security services? Your advice to them on what they should be doing in terms of establishing protocols or what they need to think about.
Business has a business plan. There's a business plan, right? How I'm gonna operate. They should ensure that there's a security plan and that the entity, whether it's outside or whether it's inside, the security service provider, that they can meet those conditions of the plans. Also, check your insurance. Get good legal advice on how that plan impacts operations. Those are some of the fundamental things in security that we miss. And a good lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have security, you should make sure you understand the legal ramifications, and does your insurance cover those actions or inactions?
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
And again, Gamal Nuri, how do people find out more from you and preventative measures? How do they reach you?
Preventative measures is available at 357-9949. We are on all of the social media platforms, and I am very available to assist our businesses and security entities in improving their products and their deliverables. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. We're going to take a quick break. Gamal Nuri, thank you so much, though, for being here this morning. We'll see you again next month, and have a great weekend. We're going to take a quick break and be back with more Morning Blend Business in just a bit.
On Angie, how does it feel to have broken the bull riding world record?
Sore, Sean. That bull was angry.
Angie, I think that bull is headed towards your red convertible.
Oh, he broke my car. Oh well, at least I've got CG Comprehensive Motor to cover this.
Get covered for collision, damage, and more. CG Atlantic Agents and Brokers. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
CFAL is a proud sponsor of Team Bahamas for the 2026 Carifta Games.
50 years of nation building, see the legacy we trust. Oh, the water is our lifeline, and the future flows through us. From the pine barrens to the ocean and the dust, we are building for tomorrow, and the future flows through us. Yes, yes, the future flows through us.
Urban Sewage Corporation, celebrating 50 years of nation building.
Guess who's back? It's that time again for the 31st annual Michael Scootery Peace on the Street All Classic.
Bring it on now, let's go.
Whether you're a player or a fan, you don't want to miss this one. The action starts July 13th at the Hope Center. Log on to peaceonthestreets.com and register. Come on, everybody, we're going! That's the Peace on the Streets Basketball Classic, where we shoot hoops instead of guns.
Game time.
Put more money back in your pocket with the Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan. Why pay more when you can pay less? Reduce your monthly debt payments down to one low, easy payment. Apply for a Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan today. Call 3564.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
And it's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Lyndon Pinley International Airport is close to identifying a developer for a long-discussed airport hotel project while simultaneously advancing plans for a major expansion of its terminal and airside infrastructure aimed at easing congestion and accommodating future growth. President and CEO of Nassau Airport Development Company, Vernice Walking, saying the hotel project, which has been under consideration for roughly a decade, is expected to be constructed on airport property, but will be privately developed rather than financed by the airport operator. And Secretary of the National Fisheries Association, Paul Mela, is telling Guardian Business that the imposition of a 15% U.S. tariff on seafood will hurt American consumers and will not harm the local export of crop markets. U.S. President Donald Trump's announcement of a 15% global tariff policy to replace prior levies struck down by the Supreme Court for fish and seafood like lobster. The import tax increase and ongoing parallel trade restrictions directly drives up retail costs for American consumers and lowers profit margins for international suppliers. Overseas, Elon Musk's rocket company SpaceX will make its debut on Wall Street today, and both institutional and retail investors are expected to gobble up the 555.6 million shares going up for sale at $135 apiece. Musk, already the world's richest man, could become the world's first trillionaire. SpaceX is likely to become the biggest IPO ever, with proceeds of around $75 billion. SpaceX hopes to become the first company to send people to Mars. In fact, part of Musk's future compensation depends on SpaceX eventually establishing a colony of at least 1 million people on the red planet. In your market watch, trading yesterday, the local BISX closing at 3,231.45, up 0.01. That's your market watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And that is going to do it for us today. Have a wonderful, safe weekend, everybody. Dwight Strachan, I'll see you on Monday with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.
Are you a tourism business owner or ready to become one? At the Tourism Development Corporation, we work with tourism entrepreneurs at every stage, turning ideas into thriving businesses and helping existing ones grow. From business development support and funding opportunities to targeted initiatives and strategic partnerships, we're here to help you take that next step. Build your future in tourism with the Tourism Development Corporation. Visit tdcbahamas.com to learn more.